Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. I would like to introduce you to the most dangerous woman you could date, the venomous pink taco pants snake. The jilted woman snake. I did a video on this gal just about a month ago, and it was Women's Matter, Chad boyfriend has too many options. Well, turns out she went back to him. Even though she knew the rules, even though she knew he didn't want a serious relationship, she went back to him. Why? Because he's Chad. Because he's a 5 or 10%er. Because he's probably really good looking, successful, athletic, and she wants him. And she cannot, her little lizard brain part of her head cannot overcome the fact that she wants him, even though she knows it's not going to be a good relationship and that he's not going to love her and he's not going to be serious with her and he's just having fun. And she knows it and she doesn't care. But then when she gets mad at him again, she decides, you know what? I'm just going to destroy him. I'm just going to ruin him. But this is the type of woman that seems nice. And you say, look, I'm not into falling in love and being serious right now. I'm into casual dating. And she says, that's fine. And then 3 months in, when she says, you know, I've fallen in love with you, and you say, I'm not in that headspace, I'm sorry, she becomes vindictive and dangerous. All right, well, we got a video from her. Let me pull up the video here. Maybe things aren't going so well. I'm going to blur this out so those of you that are on the interwebs can't see it. I'll tell you now, it looks like she's put on 10 pounds since her last video, so things are probably not going well for her. The reason why I'm blurring her face out is because she contacted Google and said that she did not want her face appearing in my video, and she emailed me directly and said, hey, I was going through a rough patch. I don't really want this living on the internet forever. Could you please remove it? And I said, you know what? Sure, because her face is not relevant. Well, apparently she didn't learn her lesson well enough because she's now spouting her nonsense on the internet again. And I am going to blur it again because I don't want her reaching out to YouTube or Google or YouTube or whatever and giving me a hard time to remove her face because I just don't want to deal with the hassle, and it's not that big a deal. So let's hear how the update since the last time she updated us is going.
Then tells me that he went on 150 Bumble and other dating app dates between the time when he broke up with her, which was 3 years ago, and when he met me. And that out of 150 people, I was the only person that he even got to a point where he called his girlfriend. It should have been a red flag to me, the fact that he was even counting the number of dates he had. And then obviously the sheer volume of dates. So fast forward to now.
Okay, so here's the update. Before she starts dating him, and she mentioned this a little bit in the other video, he had dated about 150. Now, was it exactly 150? Was he approximating? I don't know, but she thinks it's pretty hard set that he said 150 dates. If you're able to go on 150 dates on a dating app in the time that he broke up from his last girlfriend to this girlfriend or this gal, yeah, he's kind of got it going on. I'd say he's got the gift of the gab. He's got some game. He's good enough looking to get the attention of women on dating apps because he got her, the attention of her. And she says, I should have seen some red flags. Yes. But you know what? She probably did see the red flags. The warning bells went off. But then, the tingles. The tingles were too strong. The tingles were louder than the warning bells. And so she decided to date him anyway.
We're in this essentially friends with benefits relationship, and he tells me a month ago that he's going to start dating on the apps again. And I say, okay, sure. Then a couple weekends ago, I had plans with friends on a Saturday night, and he tells me that he essentially logged back into Bumble and proceeded to spend the entire evening swiping through 1,000 profiles. Because apparently he has Bumble Unlimited, which allows you to do whatever you want. He also admits to me that one of the reasons maybe he can't seem to find a way to work out a relationship long term is because he knows there's more options out there on Bumble.
Ding, ding, ding! What do we have for her, Johnny?
That's right. Chad is not going to settle down. Chad has options. Now, when I say Chad, it could be Tyrone, it could be Juan, it could be... I'm trying to think of an Asian name, Kim, whatever. What it really boils down to is when a man is desirable on these dating apps and he hears all these other guys saying, man, I really struggle on apps and they only care about looks and it's really hard for me. And this guy puts his info out there, just machine swipes on 1,000 and gets even a 10 or 20 or 30% response. He's now got 200 or 300 women to choose from. Why would he settle down? It's a buffet for him. You know, he can try a little, in this case, Kung Pao. He can try a little Italian. He can try this, he can try all the flavors.
Bumble and all the other apps, and that he's kind of got an ego boost from those. He would also tell me how he supposedly doesn't enjoy going on dates with these women, but that he would feel productive. I think if after 150 dates you can't find the right match, you're clearly the problem. So
it's not that he doesn't necessarily enjoy going on the dates. He probably doesn't. But he does enjoy going home and sleeping with all of them. So yeah, he's probably going on a lot of dates with a lot of women. Probably sleeping with a good percentage of them because that's how dating is nowadays. And if you were to ask him, and he'd probably honestly say, no, like all these dates and trying to remember who's who and managing the phone numbers, it's kind of a pain. I'd rather not do it. He's telling the truth. What he wishes he could do, go on a date, smash, never talk to them again. The problem is they probably keep trying to talk to him. They probably think that they should be his girlfriend. Or maybe they make him wait too long and he gets frustrated because he can't smash in the first night. That's what these kind of guys are. And she knows it. And she's still with him. Like,
my thoughts on this whole thing are, first of all, it is disgusting how easy it is for app culture to allow these guys that have slightly above average profiles, aka he is a 5'11" white guy who looks conventionally attractive and is in his early 30s. Basically,
okay, so let's break this down. 5'11", let's call it 6 foot tall. He's a white dude. He's tall. She says conventionally good looking. What does that mean? It means he's good looking. He's in good shape, I would guess, and he's in his early 30s. So he's got a little bit of bank to his name. He's probably learned enough to game really well if he's going on these many dates. He's a player. She's dating a good-looking player, and she says, "Oh, it's unfair how easy it is for these conventionally good-looking men." Yeah, it is unfair for the top 5 or 10%. Why? Because mid women will chase after him, and he will sleep with them, and they think they deserve better. She shouldn't probably even be dating this guy in the first place, but the only reason he's dating her is because he gets to smash. If she had said to him from the get-go, look, we're not going to do this and we're not going to get into this until I know we have a serious relationship and you're committed. And yeah, he might lie, but if you made him wait a couple of dates, a couple of weeks, whatever, he'd probably get bored. I mean, if he's really that good looking and that much of a Chad, he'd get bored and move on to an easier prey. And she could say, crisis averted, but nope, she can't help it. Why? Tingle, tingle. It's the tingle monster on her shoulder, and she's got the butterflies for him.
it'll allow him to match with any number of women in this area. These women will have no idea about his history and about how many dates he's been on and the fact that he's a total commitment phobic. Or they're like me and they get suckered into it and now is stuck in this like toxic addictive loop with him.
Oh, it's not my fault. Even though I knew it had been 3 years since his last girlfriend, even since his last serious relationship, even though I knew he had dated 150 women or gone on 150 dates before I met up with him, even though I knew he said he didn't want to be in love and it was going to be an open relationship and we have a friends with benefits thing, even though I know all these things before I got involved with him, I decided to get involved with him. And whose fault is it? Well, it's his fault because she got suckered in. No accountability, no moment of reflection of maybe I'm making some bad choices in my life. No. Women cannot be held accountable for their own bad actions. It's always got to be somebody else. So now it's his fault. And now she's worried, well, other women will fall into this as well. Oh no, heavens to Murgatroyd. Of course they will. And he's probably going to be just as open. He's going to say, I'm not into serious dating right now. If you want something the friends with benefits are open, I'm fine with that. And the other woman will say, yes, okay, I agree. And then after 2 or 3 months of smashing and going on dates, and she goes, I really like you. can we make this into something? He's like, no, it's not what I want. She goes, toxic male. That's how this always works.
My other obvious thought is that this guy has zero self-awareness. He is clearly the common thread and problem across all of the app dates that he's been on, as well as my relationship with him and probably the many other exes that he's had.
It's his fault. It's his. And this is why I say this is the most dangerous type of woman you could date. Now, again, I know you can't see her. She's not like horrible looking. She's a relatively average woman. He is not. Tall, good looking, successful, young 30s, probably has a little bit of money to rub together. She's middle of the road. But instead of saying, hey, my choices are bad, I need to warn all these other women. And this is why this woman's so dangerous. And because here's what it is. Even though he gave her all the rules up front and the guidelines and let her know exactly what kind of guy he was, she didn't care. She still went for it. She still went for the prize, thinking she could win him and she'd get the score. And when he said no, and she goes, oh, well, I couldn't change his mind, he's toxic. He's bad. He's awful. How am I going to get even? How am I going to stop him from hurting other women? How am I going to stop him from going out and doing his thing? Now, what she did is not the worst thing in the world, obviously. It's not like she made a bad claim against him and now he's rotting in jail. But the thing is, when a woman thinks like that, that's the danger. Because you don't know how, now maybe she didn't do something that's really that crazy, which she's going to mention here in a minute, but she could. And her thinking is the same of a woman that could. And these are the women that they seem fine. Everything's awesome. You get married. You have a couple of kids. And then when it's time to exit, she says, I'm going to make him pay. I'm going to get even with him. Not because of the bad things I did, even if they were my fault. I don't do anything wrong because I'm a woman. It's his fault. And I'm going to make sure that he pays. That's what's so dangerous, because this is a snake in the grass that you never see coming. And you be up front and you tell her what's up and she still bites you.
He said that he's broken up with all of his other relationships. This guy is just unable to commit, and yet he's going out there and meeting more women, and these women are getting their hopes up.
Key, you hear that? He's going on all these dates, and these women are getting their hopes up. He's not going out there saying, I love you, I want to be serious with you, let's get married someday, and then taking advantage of them and throwing them away. I'm going to rewind that 10 seconds so we can hear that again. He's not lying. He's not manipulating. He's not saying anything but the truth. But what she says is these women get their hopes up. That's not on him. That's on the women. That's on the women that sleep with him without getting commitment. That's on the women for going out with him. And why are they all like falling for him and he's not? Because he's probably a 9 or a 10 and they're 5s and 6s. And he can go through hundreds of them in a year if he wants to. Because it's easy. It's low effort. You know, some people will cook a 3-star Michelin meal. It's the best you ever ate, but it's like this much food, right? Just a little bit of food, but it's the best food you've ever tasted. But it takes maybe an hour or two in the kitchen to make that meal. Some guys want that meal. There are other guys that are just as happy to open up a can of SpaghettiOs, right? And for dessert have a handful of Oreos and a glass of milk. That takes 0 time to prepare. And it's certainly not that great. But you know what? Depends how hungry you are. So a guy like this, probably what he's doing is instead of maybe going on 3 or 5 or 10 quality, with high value women, he's just probably throwing it out there, getting, the response like a fish on a hook. He reels them in, takes them out they buy him a cup of coffee, and he throws one into them because it's easy. I can be home by 9 or 10 and be out partying with the boys. Now, maybe he has some, very attractive, nice women in there to mix in there, but maybe the guy's just a horn dog. And literally, instead of cranking one off himself, he's just using these gals as, his form of recreation.
This guy is just unable to commit, and yet he's going out there and meeting more women, and these women are getting their hopes up. I really wish there was a way that we could report people like this. I actually did that this morning on Bumble. He had unmatched me when he started dating again, but I found his name.
And I don't have the rest. This is the only thing that was uploaded. So he unmatched, and she looked up his account information and then reported him. What did he do wrong? Well, he has the ability to hurt women. So what? So do women. He's, again, at no point during this did she say he lied, he manipulated, he used. Nope. He told her what, I mean, this is what it sounds like to me. He told her what kind of guy she was. She said, I agree. Friends with benefits. She fell head over heels in love. He says nope. And now it's revenge time. These women, these are the type of women that are dangerous. Now, yes, she only reported him to Bumble. That's no big deal. But what if she decided to go further? What if she decided to ruin him? What if she decided to get him arrested? What if she decided to make a claim to college, the newspaper, on YouTube, on Twitter, or wherever, that he did these things? And it's not a criminal, but it's a civil. So instead of having the police investigate it, now we're going to have attorneys and go to court, and it's a he said, she said, and he might be out some money. And the worst part is she sees nothing that she's doing is wrong. She sees nothing that she's doing is wrong. Everything, she's innocent in all of this. It's him for not settling for her, for not deciding to be serious with her, and for just living his life. Dangerous, dangerous women, man. I'm telling you. Guys, hang tough. I'll have another one out for you here shortly. Avoid women like this. This is why it's so much safer to, stay away from the casual dating, the hookup culture, all that. If you're going to, and again, there's nothing wrong with it. And if you're going to do that, I never thought I'd be the guy to say this, but if you're going to do that and you're just doing even hookup, be honest with them, just like this guy was with her, so at least you have that defense. But yeah, this is why guys are like, I'm going to give her a fake name, and I'm only going to go over to her place. I'm not going to let her know where I live. This is why. Women like this are why. Because they'll go right behind your back, stick one between your shoulder blades, and they'll be like, I didn't do anything. It was your fault because you didn't fall in love with me, even though you said that's not your headspace. Man, be careful out there. We'll see you in the next one.